So how exactly did I get my very first initial customer after establishing my LLC? And that's one of the questions that I ask quite often, and it came in one of the comments in the YouTube, and I am putting this video together because this should help many of us, especially if you're starting out. I'll take you back in a time machine and I'll tell you what worked for me, what things I would have changed now, assuming knowing what I know and how much technology has changed. So without further ado, let's start diving in. I started my cleaning services company in 2009, and back then technology was different. Google was just coming out, if you remember. Yellow pages were still popular, the print advertisement, the penny savers, the newspapers, those were all popular. However, they were expensive, especially if you're just starting out. You have no money. I mean, if you're an immigrant like me who got here with $200, where are you gonna get money to advertise? So you might be in the same shoe. And 18 plus years after, when the company is making over $1 million, I can comfortably tell about this, and hopefully this will be beneficial to you. So Craigslist was one of the things that I started looking into because I early recognized that the power of the online and as well as the Google. So I started exploring those two things. However, before I started, right, like if I were to take you back in the time machine even further, I did not know what to do. Like I arrived here, I had no skill set. Back in home, I learned English and I was supposed to be a teacher, follow my parents' footsteps. But of course, in America, I can't, even the little ones here speak way better English than I do. So I had to requalify myself and learn how to clean countless amount of toilets and countless amount of floors. However, everything built me up to who I then to become. So do not get encouraged regardless where you're at in your life cycle. And that's why I brought up this story. When I start looking into this, I went basically start looking into pricing for yellow page advertisement for the newspapers, and I was outside of this realm. Like it was just unreal because I had to pay the rent at the same time, as well as send a little bit of money back home to support, plus buy the equipment for my now growing cleaning company. I did hire a company, US based, to build a website for me. What they did was a very basic website. It did not have the functionalities, and I paid arm and a leg back then. I think I paid like $500. And if you can think about it, 18 years ago in 2009, for a guy who literally had no money, 500 was a lot. And then I needed them to make a little bit of tweaks here and there, and then they start coming up with hourly rates just to update the website, to put the photos, to move the text, to move this and that, and it was crazy. CMS, a content management software, just was coming out, and luckily my now great friend and business partner Jose pointed me out to this platform. He's like, dude, you should learn this. And with a click of a mouse, I was now able to change the whole look and the pages and layout and menus. And instead of paying those guys to build the website, I decided to learn this myself, because I believe one skill any business owner in a business should have, at least one of them, is how to generate leads. Because if you cannot generate leads, then you're out of business, my friend, unfortunately. So I had to learn this, put everything aside, right? I had a full-time job, which I still love my ex-bosses and amazing people. And then after this, I would go and clean. And then after cleaning at nighttime, I would carve out the time to build my website to increase my online presence. Back then, I figured out a 5-page formula how to get the website on a main page so long as the URL was available. Meaning residential or like house cleaning Baltimore, right? .com. If that was available, I would put an about us page, services page, a contact us page, the areas I would service, and something else. I think, the sitemap was there, I think. And that created like 5 pages. And in 2 weeks, my website would literally be on top and the Google search was just taken up. That helped me to take my business to a next level, because that went in with website building and search engine optimization, which is a slower process to take off. However, my initial very first clean customer came in from a website that is called Craigslist. I name dropped it a little earlier, and believe it or not, the Craigslist was a big deal back then, right? You guys remember, well, like from Yellow Pages, we start switching to Craigslist, and unfortunately, it's sad to see the company didn't evolve with the time and just went out of business, and it's not as popular. But Craigslist, that's where I got my first customer, and that was a residential, amazing couple. They lived on Apaka Street in Baltimore, and I would drive up there myself with a backpack and clean and ask one or two of my friends to go. And as my time start getting consumed by building new business and working on my business, I start outsourcing cleaning part. But that is the house that I cleaned myself, and this is when I had to buy my new stuff like equipment and etc. to help out growing my business. Will Craigslist work now? No. Right? So it doesn't work. However, the concept of Craigslist still works, because if you think about it, the Craigslist required you creating an ad, which now you can do easily with ChatGPT or any other AI, going on a platform where you want to advertise, which could be a social media or Google where you build your website, and posting it there and consistently refreshing it, right? So it wasn't like you just post an ad and then you go somewhere else into whatever and forget about it. No, you consistently got to work on your website. So although the Craigslist doesn't work anymore, but the concept is the same. If you, my friend who's watching on the other side, is planning to, start your business and need to attract them, then know that it'll take a little bit of work. So whoever tells you like remote work, I'll set up everything for you, I have no idea how they'll do it, because I'm yet to see a business that's gonna run without your active involvement. Yes, you can build it to the point where then lesser and lesser of your time is consumed by that business, so you can work on things that actually matter to you. But when you're starting out, the concept of, I'm just gonna pay someone and they're gonna build the whole thing for me and it's gonna run by itself. Yes, they will build it, but it's not going to run. You're going to have to run. There are 2 ways to do it, 3 ways to do it actually. Do it yourself, right? Which is more expensive, more errors. Done with you, which is a little less, right? But you're still doing the work, but it costs more. And then done for you model, where it's just cost you arm and a leg, everything is done. But again, even with this, you will have to run the business yourself. It's not going to auto-generate the customers. It's not going to keep those leads coming in and the money coming in. So if I were to start this now, what I would do. And if you're liking this video so far, please hit that like button for me. It'll let me know that my efforts are paying off. And then comment, because I love to see the stories of those who succeed and how their lives are transforming. So thank you for hitting that like button for me. If I were to do it now, knowing what I know, what I would have done is online. So I would learn how to create a website if I had more time, right? You either do it yourself or pay someone else to do it. So I would do that. I have I actually put a video which tells how to create a website. So watch it, but after you finish this, don't jump from video to video, because you want to consume the full content first. Use the information that you need for that so you can propel to the next level. So I build a website, then I would at the same time start working on search engine optimization, which stands for SEO, and GMB, which is Google My Business. Both are super important, but they take slow. So if you think about a steamroller, a train, right? It takes a while for it to get off the ground, but once it's off the ground, it just, it goes smooth. Same with the plane. It takes a lot of energy to get off the land, but then once it's in the air, it just hovers, so it becomes easier. So never underestimate the power of search engine optimization as well as Google My Business. However way you look at it, as of right now, recording of this video, Google is still the dominant factor there that attracts the leads. Yellow Pages, other lead generation sites, I'm not fond of it. I never had a success with them. I think those platforms can be better built thinking the cleaner, the end user, right? Not just the customer or themselves. And I think it will happen soon. So get that started. And then at the same time, if I want immediately leads, what I would do is I would tap into PPCs, which is paid per click campaigns. And notice I'm using the inbound. I'm not using the outbound. If your personality is outbound, but then that's what you want. But in my case, I'm the inbound. I like when people call me. I like to go to a place to look like, I'm like, hey, I'm here to save you. What is your problem? As opposed to open your mouth, I'm gonna shove my cleaning company down your throat. So PPC would be immediate, as well as GLA, which is Google Local Ads. If it's supported in your area, those two would yield good results. However, be mindful. I see way too many comments where people talk like, hey, I started to do it, but it bled my cash. And it will. Even when you get assistance from Google or GLA, right? Their intent is to get more money for them. Yes, to help you too, but primarily for their company. So therefore, find a qualified freelancer in Fiverr or Upwork that can manage this for you. In my experience, even after paying someone to manage this, our conversion ratio is higher. We get more return on our investment and we bleed less cash. So it collectively makes more sense for me to pay this guy. So this person is saving us money and generating more leads. So if you are lacking one of those skills, then I advise you go and find someone who can help you there, or ping me. Perhaps I have some referrals to put you guys in touch with. Besides that, what you can do as far as outbound, so I'm not a guy who can pick up a phone and cold call people like tirelessly. I just can't do this. I've never done it. Luckily, I can also do the door. I mean, I've done it. I've tried to do it when I was working for someone else. It's just not for my personality. I'm really bad. I suck at it. But where I'm good at, and I became better at networking. So in-person networking opportunities are amazing, priceless, and the returns they can yield to you are like superb. And those would be like networking, business networking events around your area. Join local chamber of commerces. And remember, when you join local chamber of commerces, what you want to do is stay in front of the CEOs and presidents and keep reminding yourself, because they have other companies that they serve as well. So they'll just forget, right? That the rule of thumb is it's your business. You do the work, you remind, and then they get you the connections. And when you're in front of them, then now your opportunity to shine. And when they get the connections, don't settle just for the name and or email address, but ask them to create a CC and then just CC you in the email to them. This way, the person they're trying to get in touch with, seeing that you CC'd and the person CC'd, will likely respond to you, right? So that's good. BNIs are good too. That they feel like a Groundhog Day for me, but for, especially if you're doing residential, they're pretty good because you can get a hold of real estate agents and insurance people and mortgage brokers, and they can refer. To me, it's just boring, but they'll work, especially if you want to take off your business. Do not write them off. There are other networking events maybe in your area as well. Look into them. As far as the category of people that I would target would be general contractors, because they can give you really good big amounts, and then they can even put you in touch after the improvement is done. They can put you in touch with the owner of that facility, so you can take over hopefully the recurring business. And who doesn't like the recurring business when the money is dripping, right? That's what we want. So go after general contractors. Property managers are alike too. They build, they assign people, the tenants come in, they move out, they move in. Homeowner associations, same thing too, especially if you're going into residential area. So that would be great. And then think about like what's in it for them, right? Once you create the relationship with one of those key figures at one of these organizations that I've mentioned, then try to offer something for them, like, hey, I'll scratch your back, meaning, I'll give you a greater discount on your residential house if you can give me a referral, or, I'll throw in a carpet for you at free in your office, or clean inside of your appliances. There's 1,001 ways we can get creative as how to encourage those people to get the work for us. Especially also the residential real estate agents are amazing too, because you want to go after real estate agents. They have both commercial and residential work as well. So that just gets really, really cool if you go after residential work. The one thing when I started, so that question is, if you remember, and if you're still getting a value from this, please hit that like. And if you didn't do the subscribe, I would appreciate it. If you do hit subscribe, bring in your friends and family. That LLC that I had initially was started as LLC, and then eventually I changed it to corporation, primarily for two factors. And that is something that may be beneficial for you now, may be beneficial for you later. I'm not advising one or another. I'm not a lawyer or an accountant. Consult your professional. But my CPA told me, hey, if you go with the S corporation, then taxation is less, so you're not being double taxed, and the corporate veil protection is slightly better in that case. So that's something to keep in mind for yourself whenever you do create your company, if you haven't, or if you're running it. But do go to Legal Shield, right? They have relatively inexpensive membership. They'll give you individualized consultations from your attorney, and get a hold of a CPA who can help you as well. Keep on crushing your businesses, and this is the video where I'm going to see you inside right next after this one. Bye-bye.